Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Friday morning, the day after Arsenal won the group in the Europa League with a convincing 4-1 win against Rapid Vienna last night. The day after, 2,000 fans returned to the Emirates for the first time in 9 months, and 2 days before the big, crucial North London derby. So I thought I'd pop on today and just talk about last night's game, give my thoughts on it. Apologies for not doing my usual player ratings video from the Emirates. I was just a little bit too busy after full time, and Mikel Arteta started his press conference pretty early, and I just didn't get time to get it done. So I thought I'd pop on today. I will go through my player ratings just briefly. No point going over them too much now the day after the game. Just talk about the match itself, and then a few talking points from that, and look ahead to that big game against Spurs on Sunday. So let's get going. I'll start with my thoughts on the game. I thought it was great, considering what we've had to watch recently. Certainly at the Emirates, it's just a breath of fresh air watching that. Who doesn't love the Europa League? It's always the sort of games when Arsenal actually start getting us off our feet a little bit and playing some decent football, and they did that last night. I thought they were really, really good. And look, you got to take the opposition into account. Rapid Vienna weren't great, and they're certainly not like a Premier League side. But it was still just really enjoyable to watch Arsenal. I thought having the fans there was fantastic. I'm trying to explain how I feel about this. I must have become accustomed to behind closed doors games. I've been to so many of them since March, and you think after a while of them, you start to think of them as a norm and almost not forget because you know how important fans are, but you know what I mean. It's just it just feels every time you turn up there's no fans and you just get used to it, and then suddenly when you turn up there's 2,000 fans, even only it's 2,000. The difference, it was just remarkable. It really was. It was so good to hear proper crowd noise, and the fans were fantastic at the Emirates last night. It was only 2,000, but it sounded like loads more. It was great. The atmosphere was really good. The players definitely fed off it. They said so afterwards when they were talking about it. Mikel Arteta said it so. Lacazette, Mari, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, they all spoke about it, and it was just really, really good. It really was. I didn't realise, or I don't think I expected on my way there, just how much it was almost going to mean to me seeing those fans there last night and hearing those fans there. It was a great moment when the players came out and they all went over to the fans and applauded them before the game. I know the stewards applauded the fans as they came through the turnstiles. It was just a special night, it really was, and it just makes you not realise because you know already how important fans are to football. They are football, but I think it just sort of reaffirmed that knowledge of just how important football is, and it made me realise as well just how sterile it's been without them. And I certainly, when it first started back in March, April, I remember the semi-final at Wembley, I knew it, but I'd almost forgotten that because it's been so long now, and I've become so accustomed to the norm of no fans, and then yesterday it just made me realise again just how important it is, and it was just fantastic, and I can't wait till there's more of you. You get to go in more than the 2,000. And Arsenal were brilliant last night, the way they put it on, how safe it was, and it's just fantastic. So in terms of the match, I think the fans helped. I think they pushed Arsenal on, and Arsenal were great. Lacazette was brilliant. Ainsley Maitland-Niles was great. Pepe, Nelson. It was just a really fluid team performance against a pretty rubbish team, I have to admit, in Rapid Vienna. They were poor, but Arsenal were great, and you sort of look, they had 11 shots on target. That's the most they've ever had under Mikel Arteta in a match. I think it's the most they've had since that game against Cardiff in September 2018. I saw Urbino, the guy from Opta, said that yesterday on Twitter, and that's again the 3-2 against Cardiff. I remember when Lacazette scored a late winner. So it's the first time since then that Arsenal had 11 shots on targets in a single game, and that's it was great. It was just good to sit back and watch Arsenal attacking and midfield runners getting in and support the strikers, getting ahead of the strikers. And it just made such a difference to what we've been seeing recently. And the Europa League is always a breath of fresh air. Arsenal have had 94 shots in their Europa League campaign so far. That's in 5 games. In their 10 Premier League games, they've had 96, so one more. 95, so one more, even though they've played 5 games more. And that says it all. It says a lot about the quality of the Europa League, don't get me wrong, but it's understandable why fans actually look forward to these matches now, because they get to see an exciting match of football and an attacking game of football, and hopefully we can see Arteta's side take this into the Premier League now going forward, because it was just a really enjoyable game. There were so many good performances from it. that deserves a lot of credit. So I'll just quickly go through a very brief player ratings. Runners in goal, I thought he was a bit suspect for their goal, to be honest, and kind of reaffirmed my belief that Arsenal really need to make sure that Leno doesn't get injured this season. I'm going to give Runners a 5. Cedric, I thought, was pretty good at right back. Pretty solid defensively, got forward and supported, so I'm going to give him a 7. Mustafi didn't too much do. I'll give Mustafi a 6. Pablo Mari making his first start since that injury against Man City, first start this season, scored a goal, marked it. He didn't have much to do defensively, but I'm going to give him a 7 just because of that goal. Take him up a point. A really nice little glanced header from Reece Nelson's cross. I thought Kolasinac played pretty well back from his coronavirus. What would I call it? Not suspension, but coronavirus enforced fortnight off. And I thought he did pretty well. He was very unlucky for their goal. 2 great goal line clearances, and unfortunately it fell to the Rapid Vienna player who scored. So a bit unfortunate for Kolasinac, but I thought he played pretty well. I'll give him a 7. He was heavily involved in that in Eddie Nketiah's goal, which was a lovely team move. So he gets a 7. Ainsley Maitland-Niles I thought was fantastic in central midfield, and I really hope Mikel Arteta starts to think about him playing there for the long term in the Premier League. I give Maitland-Niles an 8. I'm going to give Elneny a 6. I don't think Elneny was fantastic. He wasn't bad, but I'm going to give him a 6. Then the 2 wingers both get 8s. I thought Nelson and Pepe were great. I think they both created 5 chances last night, both of them. That's the first time since Mesut Ozil did it in 2019, I think, that an Arsenal player has created 5 chances in a game, and they both did it last night. So fair play to Reece Nelson and Nicolas Pepe. Such a shame Pepe suspended for Sunday. Lacazette, I thought was man of the match, playing in the number 10 role. Only played for just over an hour, but I thought it was great. His goal was brilliant. Really unlucky not to score again. Hit the post with one, and the keeper made a really good save. His pass for who was it? Pepe for the Nketiah's goal was fantastic, and really good performance in that number 10 role from Lacazette. And I think he has to start against Tottenham now for me on Sunday. I think he's done enough to warrant a place in that team. If Arteta goes to a 4-2-3-1, I'd play him behind Aubameyang on Sunday. And then Nketiah scored his goal, classic Nketiah's goal, from about 6 yards out at the second attempt. Gives it Nketiah a 7. I'm not going to go through the subs in terms of ratings because there's not really too much point. But so they're my player ratings for last night. Very good attacking performances. You can see by those ratings. Nelson, Laka, Pepe all getting 8, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles getting an 8 as well. So in terms of Spurs this weekend, I sort of touched on it there with Lacazette. I think he really does need to start. Kind of depends on the formation as well, what Mikel Arteta does, and I think a lot of that revolves around Thomas Partey. If he plays or if he doesn't play. If he does play, I think I'll probably see a back 4 with Partey in the midfield 2. If he doesn't play, I think he might end up playing a back 3, because I'm not sure you can play a back 4 and just have 2 centre-backs with as a mobile midfield as Xhaka and Sabas in front of them, playing on against a team like Spurs who will counter-attack the way they will with Kane and Son. So if he does go 4-2-3-1, I'll certainly have Lacazette in that number 10 role, and I'd be really tempted to play Maitland-Niles alongside Thomas Partey in the central midfield. Arsenal struggle for goals. That's been their problem this season. You're just not scoring any goals, you're not going to win any football matches, and that's the problem at the moment. But and the midfield is an issue. Mikel Arteta spoke about that a couple of days ago. I touched on it on yesterday's video. And what you saw from Maitland-Niles last night was a real willingness to get forward, to get into the box himself from the midfield, but he's also got the legs to get back. And I think if you've got Thomas Partey and Maitland-Niles as a midfield pivot, you've got real decent drive, you've got great energy, you've got fantastic engines of getting box to box, both of them. Partey fantastic at winning the ball back. Ainsley Maitland-Niles pretty good at winning the ball back, presses well, but he also gets forward, and we saw it yesterday. That lovely run in the first half, which he should have scored, it was a pretty poor finish after that run. But the way he just got into the box there, that's what Arsenal have been missing for so long since Aaron Ramsey left. And I'm not comparing Maitland-Niles with Ramsey because he's not that sort of player, but he is willing to get forward and support the attack. We saw it with his assist for Emil Smith-Rowe's goal as well. And that's what Arsenal have been missing, and that's why they're struggling to score, because there's no one up with the attackers. The attack have been left totally isolated, and I thought it was really good to see Maitland-Niles playing like that yesterday. And it is his position, and he never really gets a chance there. He's always at full-back, he's always at wing-back, rarely gets a chance to play midfield, and when he does, he plays very well, and he did that last night. And I don't think he will start. I think we'll probably go back to Xhaka, unfortunately. But I think if I was Mikel Arteta, I'd be very, very tempted to start Maitland-Niles after that performance, because I think you've got to reward decent performances. And, when you play as well as that, you should really stay in the team, in my view, and that's why I stick with Lacazette, and I'd certainly stick with Maitland-Niles in midfield, and I'll be very tempted to play Reiss Nelson as well. I don't think he will. I think Willian will start, but Nelson has played very well the last couple of games. Scored against Mulder last week, got the assist yesterday as well for Eddie. If Eddie had scored on the first touch, he would have been given as an assist, but it's probably taken away from him now because Eddie missed his effort. But really bright performance. I said how many chances created, and I think again when you're struggling for goals, you're struggling for creativity, you've got to play players in form. Willian not in form, Reiss Nelson very much in form, as he showed last night and he showed last week in Norway as well. In terms of Thomas Partey, little update on that. I asked Mikel Arteta after the game yesterday on Partey, and he said that he was going to train today for the first time. So fingers crossed on Partey that he will be able to feature against Spurs on Sunday. He's not trained for a long time, so it's a case of, is he fit enough? Is he going to go into a game of that intensity and be able to compete with Ndombele and Højbjerg at his very best? Perhaps not, but I think Thomas Partey at 80%, 85%, I still think you play him in a North London derby. He's only been out for a couple of weeks now, and he's got such a great engine on him. You could at least get 60 minutes, maybe 70 minutes out of him. So if he does come through training okay today, I'd be very, very tempted to player of that quality. And I think it also allows you to go over back four because you've got a little bit of extra security with Partey in front of the centre backs. Excuse me. Other team news: Luiz is a doubt still, but it's looking likely he will be involved. Mikel Arteta admitted that after that head injury. He didn't play last night, obviously, but all signs pointing towards he should be okay for Sunday. Martinelli's still out, obviously, and Nicolas Pepe, unfortunately, banned, which is a real shame given the form he's shown in the last couple of games in Europa League. And you kind of look at Pepe at the moment and how he played against Mulder, how he played last night against Vienna, and you do start to wonder, could that red card against Leeds be the turning point in Nicolas Pepe's career? Is it the kind of wake-up call he needed to really kick him into life at Arsenal? Because he's been great the last two games he's played since that red card. It's been a brilliant response from Pepe. It's a big, big shame he's not going to play against Spurs, because I think we see what he brings to the team when he is on song, and he's certainly on song at the moment. So that Southampton game in the Premier League when he comes back from his ban can't come soon enough, because I think hopefully in this sort of form, Nicolas Pepe is going to cause Premier League teams a lot of problems in the coming weeks in the build-up to Christmas. But we did see Willian come on yesterday. I know Willian's been coming in for a fair bit of grief recently, although to be fair, against Wolves, I didn't think Willian was too bad. I thought he was one of Arsenal's better players, and he was pretty bright when he came on last night as well, as was Dani Ceballos, to be fair. I thought Ceballos made a bit of a decent impact when he came on. And when you look at Spurs, you kind of feel that Arteta will go for experience in the end and maybe set his team up like he did against Manchester United. Certainly if Thomas Partey isn't fit, you'd expect, for me, he'll go back to a back three, just because the way Kane and Son counter-attack, I think you maybe need that extra central midfielder, certainly if you've got a midfield of Xhaka and Ceballos ahead of them. So some big calls for Mikel Arteta to make ahead of the derby. Players did exactly what they needed to last night in terms of trying to put the pressure on Mikel Arteta to warrant a starting spot against Spurs. As I said, Lacazette, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reiss Nelson, they did all they could have done to get themselves a spot in the derby, and now it's just going to be all eyes on what team gets announced at about 3 o'clock on Sunday. I will be at the derby. Thankfully, 2,000 Spurs fans will be there as well, which will be interesting. And it'll be loud, I think, given what happened at Arsenal last night and how loud it was. It'll be loud at the derby, even with 2,000 fans. I think Spurs fans are all going to be sort of behind that goal in their big Borussia Dortmund style stand, unlike at Arsenal where they were dotted around the stadium. So it'll be interesting to see if that makes much of a difference, because I thought it was good at Arsenal having them dotted around half the stadium last night, sort of added to the atmosphere all the way around. It'd be interesting if it's a little bit different with all the Spurs fans in that one stand. I will try my best to come back and do a ratings video again, as I always do after the Tottenham game. It all depends on timings and how quickly Mikel Arteta comes out for his press conference, but I will do my best from that. I'm going to try and do a video tomorrow, so I'm tempted now. I'm looking, I think, to try and do my predicted team now, but I'm kind of tempted to try and do a video tomorrow just to see what happens over the next day or so as well, because I can give more of an update on Thomas Partey and more of an update on how I think the team will set up after today and what we hear from training and hear from Arsenal. So I'll probably try. I'll hold off giving my predicted 11 today, and I'll probably try and pop on and do another video tomorrow looking a little bit more to that Spurs games and doing my predicted 11. But just to run through the team news again, Partey a doubt, hoping to train today, so could be involved. Luiz a doubt, but expected to feature. No Pepe, he is banned. No Martinelli yet, despite his him returning to training. I think also you can probably count out Pablo Mari and Callum Chambers, despite the pair of them both playing yesterday after their long injury layoffs. I can't imagine they're going to be involved against Tottenham at the weekend. Thanks for watching, everyone. I do appreciate your time as always. Please do enjoy what is a pretty great and miserable Friday out there. Like I said, I will do my best to pop back tomorrow, do another video, give my predicted 11 and focus a little bit more on that Tottenham game. Speak to you all tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.